I just came into this world where I again didn't feel like I belonged. I just got to the point where I lived all my life for everybody else. I didn't care anymore at all.
There's a silent epidemic that's happening in men in general, whether you're gay or straight.
They think they can sustain it. They think they can control it, but it just slowly takes over. This is what I have been.
Welcome to Recovered Addict Podcast, where we dive deep into the journeys of healing and transformation. Today, we're tackling a topic often shrouded in silence and shame, yet desperately needs a spotlight: crystal meth addiction among highly functioning gay men. If you or someone you know has felt trapped by this cycle, feeling like traditional rehab or 12-step programs just don't get your unique challenges, then this episode is for you. Our guest, Dr. Dallas Bragg, isn't just a sobriety coach. He's a survivor. He's walked through homelessness, felony charges, and his own battle with meth, emerging with a revolutionary guilt-free path to sobriety, one that doesn't require rehab and helps you reclaim your life in just 6 months. Get ready to challenge everything you thought you knew about recovery, because Dr. Dallas Bragg is about to show us how to transform addiction, and I love this word, into alchemy and create a truly self-actualized life. Thank you, Dr. Bragg, for being on the episode today.
Thank you so much. I've been watching your podcast for a while now, and I reached out to you because I was like, I need to meet this person, and we really align with a lot of, I think, what we believe. So I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, I know. It's interesting. We use the word recovered addict, and that always triggers people. In all our comments every week, it's just constantly. But it's this whole idea that you are not your addiction, like in the sense there is a higher self. And I know you use the word alchemy, and I want to start with that. What started you off on the path to understand, and maybe you can go into your journey, then to understand that you can turn lead into gold and alchemize?
Yeah, I can start with my journey with meth first, if you like.
Yes.
So I was married. I'm married to a woman, and we had 2 children. I was always a closeted gay man throughout all of that. I spent all my life pretending to be straight because I grew up in the Pentecostal church, and that I had a demon. I was demon possessed. In my childhood, adolescent, teenage, into my adulthood, I tried to get the demon exorcised.
When were you first attracted to men? How old were you?
I can remember being 5 and watching this in The Restless with my grandma.
I remember that, Dallas. Yep.
Being attracted to Victor, I think was his name, like the main character.
Yeah. I get that. Yeah.
Because I remember saying to my mom, I was like, that makes me want to pee when I see him. And she was like, what are you talking about? So yeah, as young as 5, I started to be attracted. And so I always knew, but I believed that it would be, like I said, that it would be exorcised out of me. I would be released from it. So I was up at the altar, I'd be released from it, and then 2 weeks later, be back fantasizing. I grew up in the days before internet, so I would have my Men's Health magazine or the Sears catalog as my porn, right?
Yeah. Pentecostal church, because Elvis stole all the music. I always say Elvis stole all the music from the Pentecostal church. But do you think the Pentecostal church, that fervor, and I've been into those, I was raised Baptist, like Southern Baptist. So I've been into those. Do you think that those emotions and the feelings and the guilt and the pastor, all of that, and then you guys had like super strict, like women had to wear sleeves up to here, and a lot of women wore dresses, no makeup. Do you think that suppressed everything even more?
Yeah, I would say so. And my church that's more of an apostolic. If they no makeup and the hair up, and there was people who wore makeup. It did suppress it. The other problem was my uncle was the pastor. My grandfather was the elder of the church. My aunt was the Sunday school teacher. I was there in my face every week saying homosexuality is a sin and it's dirty and I'm going to hell. And so I just grew up feeling just always scared. Like if I masturbated, I was like, what if Jesus comes back right now? Like I'm going to burn in hell for eternity. I got married quickly, and we started having kids quickly because to me it was safe. It's like, there's no way I'm going to pursue men now because I have a family. And so eventually the cycle got too much for me. So I started planning my suicide. And I finally went to a therapist, and in that hour, he determined I needed to be put into a mental facility because I was suicidal. And so I spent a few days in this mental facility. My wife came at the end, and I confessed that I was having homosexual tendencies, is what we had to call them. And so we pledged to pray together and try to get those away. So I joined Homosexuals Anonymous and went through 12 steps through that. I tried to do all these different things. And
Is that a Christian organization?
I don't think they claim to be Christian.
But they're anti-gay?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was like learning how to move your eye gaze when you're looking at a man. They call it an eye bounce or something like that. And so finally, that happened, and I just couldn't bear this cycle anymore. You know what? If I'm going to hell, why live in hell? Why live in hell now and later? I just finally came out, and I told my wife, and then I was free. I just got out of there. It was I was 36 when I came out.
And what did your Pentecostal family say?
That my grandmother didn't see me for a while. Some of them are okay, some of them aren't. But I just got to the point where I lived all my life for everybody else. I didn't care anymore at all. And I moved out pretty quickly after 2 weeks, actually, after coming out. And so here I was. I burst into the gay community thinking, this is my home to be accepted. I bet I didn't know anybody gay. The only thing I knew was Will and Grace because it was TV. I would see some pride festivals, pride parades on the news. So I imagined a pride festival in my head on a gay bar or gay people being together. But what I discovered was the complete opposite. And that was more judgment. There were more comments. I got more comments about how feminine I was from other gay men than I ever did before. There was so many boundaries and cliques and rules and pettiness and judginess, and I came into this world where I again didn't feel like I belonged. And the disappointment of that made me spiral emotionally because I'm like, I don't belong anywhere. And then I started thinking, I've made a big mistake here. I just burned my whole life down for this. And so I crept along and maybe dated a few guys or whatever, and I got really into Grindr, the hookup app, and I started showing up at guys' houses and not speaking and just getting my feeling valid because they would have sex with me. We'd have sex and just a hookup and I would leave. So I didn't want to really show myself. So here I was still hiding in the closet.
How is that pretty common? Is it like a self-worth thing? Like from a spiritual aspect, what does that look like? Because I could just imagine if you're DMing somebody and like you just said something very powerful. We don't speak.
Yeah. Yeah. That's it. A lot of times there's a big thing in the gay community, this anonymous come and go or come dump, whatever, where the guy's just ass up when you walk in, his face or one or the other, or your ass up, whatever. There's a lot of that. There's that they're into this anonymous thing. And so there was just that I floated from guy to guy feeling like that was the only chance I had to feel like I was accepted is that these guys would have sex with me. And it's not too hard to find in the gay community. Now, back to the spiritual view, though, what I've realized since, if you fast forward, is that I was carrying this belief that I would be excluded anyway.
Okay.
From my whole life. I don't belong that's my big message. I don't belong. And so I went into this gay community with that already. So it was a self-fulfilling prophecy anyway. Right. I could have got involved with the sports league. I could have got involved with some nonprofits. I could have met different types of gay men. But instead I went to the clubs and I went to Grindr, where it is very highly like cliquey and judgy, and it's not that accepting right away. And so looking back, it's not all gay community's fault.
Right.
I just came at it thinking I wasn't going to belong anyway.
Was it an introduction to understanding as far as, did you notice that there was a lot of wounded individuals?
No.
Is that what, and so thus the not talking, thus the,
Yes.
let's just keep it superficial on the sexual side?
Yeah. And that's the problem. You get a lot of gay men together, it's a bunch of wounded boys.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a bunch of wounded, traumatized boys who have been taught that they're wrong. They're bad for who they are. Internalized homophobia is a big thing, especially in the South, right?
Do you feel like, speaking as a gay man, do you feel like it's that there's a lot of misunderstood as far as, and I want to get back to your story and we'll get back
Yeah.
to
Yes.
addiction and
Yes.
stuff like this. But I want to understand, if somebody straight that's listening to this, especially another male, what is that? Like, I've gone to gay clubs and been around, I have gay friends and stuff like that. I'm in like marketing, more liberal side of things. So what does that look like as far as, do you think straight men are just rude and prejudice and don't give two fucks, and just, is it like this like Trumpian type? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't think he cares either way, but do you feel like it's that type of atmosphere? Is there a lot of persecution? If I'm going to use like an old Christian word, is there a lot of
Yeah.
persecution towards gay men?
It still exists I personally have not experienced that.
Oh, wow.
I will say not ever. I won't say not ever. So last
State you're
year,
in.
I'm in North Carolina. So
Oh,
I
wow.
will say in South Carolina last summer, I walked into a grocery store and these two guys stopped and pointed at me and were laughing at the way I was dressed. That was the first time that happened, but I just kind of laughed at them because I was like, "You're so ignorant." What
Yes, that's what
you know?
yeah.
I was like, What is happening here?" But there are gay people who still experience that, like slurs being yelled at them
Of course, right.
on the street. I don't see that a lot in Charlotte. Now, you may talk to different people with different experiences here, and I think there are, but the straight people that I have been around, they're very much you be you.
Mm.
And I honestly feel safer in a group of straight people than I do gay people anyway.
Yeah, the reason I was saying that, the root of this is what I was talking about, is there's a silent epidemic that's happening in men in general. Whether
Yeah.
you're gay or straight, where it's, I'm gonna be the lone wolf, I have no friends, I have tons of mental health issues, and I just keep bearing it down, and then I'm just gonna work. And then if you're probably, I would guess, if you're on this, just guessing, I guess if you're a gay man, then you would have, maybe there's daddy issues, maybe there's like a lot of trauma or drama that you haven't dealt with. Like, how does that happen? Like, as far as before we get into the meth use, I want to understand, if you don't mind, peel back the little bit layer of more of the wounds that you had and the trauma that you had.
Yeah. Yeah. You grow up rejecting a part of yourself.
Yes.
You
That's
reject
sad. Yeah.
Yeah, you reject this whole part of your identity because it is in the way. It is between you and getting the love of the people you need love from. Just your family, right? Like I have so many different scenarios of when don't stop talking like a girl, stop walking like a girl, don't do that, all that kind of thing.
Hmm.
And so in order for me to find the love I needed from my mother and father and family, I had to reject that part of me. And so anytime you reject a part of yourself, that's where shame comes from,
Right.
right? And so you begin to grow up in shame. You interact from shame and you view the world through shame. And I can't be myself. And then you reject more parts of yourself. You really start to pick apart what you feel like is I what you feel is wrong with
Did you
yourself.
feel like you were never good enough?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I was never good enough. My mom's side was the Pentecostal side. My dad's side was the hellraisers, beer drinkers, cussards, fighters.
Oh, wow.
I had the two spectrums that in either one. And so my dad would say comments about, "You can't be my real son. There's no way." And those kind of things. So I drifted over to the Pentecostal side because I found that it was easier to get accepted, and it was safer with my mom because my dad was violent. He was physically abusive, mentally abusive, all that kind of stuff.
Do you
Yeah.
think it affected you, like, as far as being a gay man? Was there like a weird attraction to that, or
Yeah.
yeah,
Yes. Yeah.
that's what I've understood. Whether it's women or men, it doesn't matter. That in down through, there's like an acceptance of, oh, okay, I put up with this before. I understand what normal is. Even normal's super fucked up, and so this becomes normal to me, if that makes sense. So like getting back to your story. So being on Grindr, going through this, not talking to people, just hooking up constantly. And we see this on the straight side too. What where did you begin to gain some self-awareness? Or did you have to get into crystal meth before that
Yeah,
happened?
I had to get
So you
had
went
to go
even deep,
through it.
you went even deeper down.
Yeah, because so the day I found crystal meth accidentally through Grindr,
So somebody
this was
gave it to you?
it was a Sunday afternoon. The guy asked me if I party. So crystal meth in the gay community has its own language. So it's called Tina in the gay community. So you can call it T, capital T, or Tina, or if you say party, it's PAR capital TY, or the party emoji, or the smoke emoji. There's different. It's a whole language and all these secret symbols, right? That everybody knows what they are, but I didn't at that time. I guess 15, and he asked me if I partied Sunday afternoon. I said, yeah, I'll party. I was thinking day drinking or I don't know, something like that.
Right.
And so I get to the house and it's like this grown up, the yard's grown up. It's this broken down house. And the guy comes to the door. But this guy is very attractive. And here's the thing is these gay guys who are using many times in the gay community are very attractive. It's not missing tooth, boils on your skin
Yeah,
type
like the meth type look.
meth,
Right.
stereotype. And so I go in and there's porn playing everywhere. There's a sling hanging from the ceiling. Everything's a mess.
Right.
And I was like, and then so he hands me a pipe and some GHB. I don't know if you know what GHB is. GHB is a liquid that is often taken with crystal meth, and it's known as the date rape drug. It's some people call it liquid ecstasy too. So it kind of makes you feel drunk. It makes you feel really sexual, but you take just a little bit too much and you'll pass out.
Oh, okay. So that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. So he hands me this pipe and everything, and I was like, I don't know. He said, it was like, you said you partied. And so anyway, he ends up showing me how to do it. So here's what happened. And if you talk to any gay man, they'll have a similar story. As soon as you puff that into your body, all the shame, all the rejection of your parts, all the inhibitions, all the internalized homophobia, it's like this magic elixir that just wipes it all away. And so I was just like, this is what I have been searching for all my
That was
freedom.
your acceptance.
Yeah. I didn't care how I talked, what I looked like. I just wanted to fuck. That was it. And so we proceeded for 2 or 3 days.
Wow.
It was 2 or 3 days of being up. And that's the thing. It makes you stay wide awake for days. We just kept going. We ended up going back to my house and destroyed it was just like, I was like, this is what I want. And I suddenly started meeting, now that I knew the lingo, on Grindr and find it. And it was all around me. And I didn't even know it. Squares on Grindr that wasn't talking to me before, they weren't talking to me because I didn't party.
Oh, so this is really a secret thing, right? Yeah, that's interesting. So was the judgment coming from this? What's the percentage? Is it 20%, 40%?
What do you mean?
As far as gay men that are obviously there, you have, I would imagine, like Tim Cook from Apple, or the guy that's the Secretary of Treasury and has a partner. I doubt they're doing crystal meth at the White House. You know what I mean?
Oh, you never, I wouldn't,
you never know.
I wouldn't put it past them. But
Yeah, you never know. But I would think, is it, so you call it a silent epidemic. Why?
Because it's all around us. Every city, everywhere in the country, in the world, it's now everywhere. And if you go, I did an experiment recently in Charlotte, where I'm at. I went to 4 parts of the city, and I recorded how long it took me from opening up Grindr until being invited over to use meth. Average time on a Tuesday afternoon was 35 minutes. 35 minutes. It's happening 24/7 everywhere, all around. And that's just Charlotte, right? I was in part of my story, my mom drug me back to West Virginia to get sober. And I was in a trailer out in a cow field. I got on Grindr and found somebody to use with within an hour and was at his house that night. Now I had to drive 60 miles, but it is everywhere. And the silence is that a lot of the straight community doesn't know about it. The gay community don't want to talk about it because it looks bad on us. It looks deviant. It's called, what most people are calling this is the new AIDS epidemic.
Yeah, that makes sense.
No,
Right.
no one wanted to say, like when somebody died from AIDS, to say that because it would look bad, like it was a sexual deviant or dirty or thing with this. In this gay community, it's hardly ever talked about. In the US, it's not talked about. It's getting a lot of attention finally in Europe. Some of these countries, they're really leaning into studying it, creating harm reduction facilities, really coming to meet it. And it's called chemsex, is what chemsex is the term that David Stewart in London came up with. It's specifically for men who have sex with men who use usually meth or methadone or GHB to have sex with. And this isn't just sex, like one-time sex. Like I said, that the two of us, the first time, had sex for 2 or 3 days. It's usually 2 or 3 days or a week, and it's usually with multiple people. You can never get enough.
So if you're using, so let's say you're using crystal meth for 3 days straight, 4 days straight, and this is a thing, and you're on there, so you're hooking up with a ton of guys.
Yep. Yeah, typically. Now, since COVID, there's a lot of guys who have isolated themselves, and they'll lock themselves in their bedroom and use it with porn for 3 or 4 days by themselves. And there's some guys who have been doing it so long that it's not even sexually fun anymore.
Right.
So they're doing it on their own. But yes, the typical, it's called a chill out in the UK. Over here, it's just called a party, where it's an orgy. It's a constant orgy, men in and out. Everybody's on their phone, on Grindr, looking for more men, or Sniffies. Sniffies is the new thing in the US. It hasn't really got over to the UK yet. Sniffies is a online app that makes it even easier to find. You can schedule an orgy on there, and you can sign up for it.
Wow. So it's just a group of guys that get together that under the agreement that we're all going to use crystal meth and just have an orgy.
Yep.
So so you just discovered this amazing thing. How old were you then?
So 39.
Because you were late. Yeah. So here you are, 39 years old. You discovered this amazing thing. Now you have freedom. Now you have acceptance. Now you found your community using the drug, because the drug is putting this out there for you.
Yep. That's right.
So now you're probably living on, for a period of time, you're on a high, right?
Oh, yeah. So I was also an executive at a law school. I was to finish my doctorate, so I was teaching in an MBA program. I had a lot of discretionary income and a flexible schedule.
Yeah, and then also you have, everybody doesn't want to be, I've experienced this as a leader, where if you have somebody in the community, you feel a little bit more lenient if they're late or if they take a day off, because you don't want to be that person.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, and I had my kids every other week.
Oh, wow. So you have 2 kids, right? You were saying you had
Yes.
2 kids? So you have 2 kids that are coming over every other week, and then here you are, when they're not around, just going hog wild.
At first.
Right.
So at first it was, I'm only doing it every other weekend. And everyone says this, but the weekends start to bleed in to Monday, Tuesday. I was smoking it every night, having people over. And then I said I was never going to do it when the kids were there. And then it started, I'm only going to do it on the weekends when the kids are there. And that just turned into, I'm doing it every day. I jumped into this community like full-fledged because 3 decades, almost 4 decades, I had waited to belong somewhere.
Yes.
And this is where I belong. So I dove in. I was meeting everybody I could, going everywhere I could, doing all the things that I could all night long. Like a drug deal at 4 a.m. and I'd be standing up in front of a board, doing a board meeting at 8 a.m. at the law school. But that didn't last long. Couldn't.
So do you feel, so just so everybody understands, just so people understand, so you smoke that pipe, you're having sex for 3 days straight or whatever. What is, how, like at the high, what are you feeling? Are all of you guys just having great parties and you guys are just getting to know each other and there's just mass amounts of sex and everybody's at this super level? Is it like super happy and everybody's joyous?
So there's In an ideal world, yes. So there's also the reality of most of what happens, and that is over time, guys go into psychosis, super paranoid.
Mhm.
Like you roll the dice. I would have a guy over. He would be normal, hot guy. He's take a inhale, and all of a sudden he's duct taping my blinds down so that the
Paranoid.
people outside can't see us. So in an ideal situation, yes, you're all like, you feel so sexually charged, uninhibited, and then you want higher and higher dopamine hits. So then you get into the taboo. So this is where it gets into, what more can I do that's taboo? Fisting, pissing, all the stuff that, what else can I do? And then there's a segment of these guys that get into child pornography,
Right.
Nazi paraphernalia. It's bestiality. I mean, there are Zoom channels that are going 24/7 just for guys, gay guys using meth, that you can use with anyone around the world anytime if you log into these Zoom channels. Some of these Zoom channels are playing films of some of that you can watch. Because
it'd be like guys having sex dressed up like Nazis or something like that.
Yeah.
Just for
But most of these Zoom rooms are just, you're naked and you're using and you're jacking off or you're fucking somebody. Like screens upon screens of that. And then there's a monitor who monitors it. And if you're not using, you get out because you could be a cop or whatever.
Well, of course. Yeah.
Yeah. So it just carries this whole different nuance, because you don't have Zoom channels of heroin addicts or or people doing cocaine together. This is a whole world. It's a whole seedy world that's outside, in plain sight, going on all around us, that people just don't see.
So what you're saying is, Dallas, this is so interesting. So what you're saying is, if not caught or not maintained, it leads you into sexual deviance. Obviously, you can't keep your work and everything else. Some guys do, of course, are good with that. It seemed like you were, but it keeps at the point to where you can't function on a daily basis, and then it's almost
right.
every night.
Yeah, it didn't last long for me. It eventually was, everyone knew. There's a picture of me. There was a picture of me, like the boardroom had glass walls, and there by it where people would walk by. I was out on the boardroom table. People are just walking by and snapping pictures. It didn't last long where they finally was like, yeah, something's wrong. And so there was this I was at a law school. There was a gay attorney who was also a professor who came to me, and he pulled me to the side and he goes,
He knew.
I know you're doing meth. You need to stop. And I was like, I'm not doing meth. I remember denying
I
it.
think the straight people, like I've joked around with my gay friends, is, oh, you guys just party hardy too hard. Like,
Yeah.
I know how it is. Like even Joe Rogan, the kind of the guy we all listen to and follow, he has a whole joke series of being in West Hollywood. And then everybody's at 4, 5, 6 in the morning and they're going hard in the paint. So if you were laying on a desk and I knew you, I'd be like, oh, he must have had a great night.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't even think that you were doing meth. That's the thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I don't want to paint the wrong picture that I'm saying it's bad to party, and there's a lot of fun party drink or whatever that people use, that they can actually go to bed the next day and they can do it on a Friday and be at work on Monday. But with crystal meth, it's almost impossible to contain it and to control it. Some guys are functioning, but they're at this one point on their journey. They think they can sustain it. They think they can control it, but it just slowly takes over, creates this sex zombie type energy that you just can't think of anything else. And the drug is all about the anticipation, right? You believe you're going to have this hot orgy. That, like you said, the hot orgies are few and far between, to be honest.
That's for straight side anyways. Yeah.
Yeah. It's usually everybody sitting around jerking because it can't get hard.
Right.
Watching porn and trying to get other guys. That is the typical meth party.
We talked about this off air because crystal meth, I was thinking like, oh, if you're just fucking all the time, then it makes you maybe rock hard and then you're a stallion. But you were saying like for some it is, but for most people it's not. You still have to take.
For most it's not.
Yeah.
For most it's not. If you have a lot of the organized meth parties, you'll get meth and you also get Viagra or Cialis.
Mm-hmm.
There's also Trimix, which you inject into your penis.
Yeah, I've heard of that. Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's
But she works
wild.
for,
So
yeah.
do you feel like in the gay community, especially when it comes to whether it's gay porn or whatever it is, all the filming and everything that goes like that, is there a lot of use in that?
Yes, absolutely. But get in trouble. I'll probably get a lot of ats for saying that. Now there are plenty, and I had a porn star on my podcast recently. Stopped using meth and became a porn star after, as
Oh,
part
that's
of his
awesome. Yeah.
part of his sexual healing. But yes, the other problem is that there are studios like Sketchy Sex, Raw Fuck Club, Treasure Island. The guys are high, dark, seedy,
Mhm.
taboo type, raw. That's the kind of sex you want when you're on crystal meth. And so when you watch that
Mhm.
constantly, you think you need that's sex to you. That's what you have to have. And the issue, some of these guys in their 20s, even early 30s, have grown up with the phone in their hand and have grown up watching that porn and they have to have. And meth gives them that, at least in their mind, it does.
Do you feel like when you were with your wife, did you have any type of connection, like emotionally, or was there
Yeah.
obviously you loved her, yeah. From a sexual standpoint, was there any connection?
So there was in the beginning for
Of
sure.
course.
And I'll be honest with you, since then I've been with some trans men.
Of course.
And so I'm attracted to vagina, I guess I can say on here.
No, that's great.
And
Yeah.
yeah, we had emotional connection. We're still close. We've had a lot of problems, but we're back to being close.
But I mean, you
And
created 2 kids.
yeah,
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 yeah.
we did.
So that's awesome. That's great. How are your like on the backside of this? How are your kids?
Surprisingly, they've turned out better than I could ever imagine. My daughter jokes, and she said, "You and mom showed me exactly what not to do." And so
Don't be a Pentecostal gay man, right?
she put herself through college. She's 23 now. She has
That's
a
awesome.
401k. She's got a job. She's both of them are sexually active, hypersexual, or anything like. They're both living on their own, stable. They drink a little bit. That's it. They've turned out extremely well. And to be honest, my story it begins with me getting out of jail the last time. And no one would answer my call from jail except my daughter. And she was 16.
Mm,
She believed in me. Like,
that's so
no
awesome.
matter what made her help me steal and shoplift. I wrote bad checks on her account. I did so many bad things to her. And she always came back and she always believed in me. And they both of them picked me up that last day the last time I was in jail, they picked me up. I had nothing but a shirt and pants, and a broken phone. And they just said, we need you. We need you to be, because
Mm.
while I was doing that, their mother had started having her own addiction problems.
Oh Lord, yeah.
And so they were like, we need a parent and we need you recovered. Really, the three of us worked together on it as a team. And so now we're just best friends. I stopped being their parent a long time ago. We're just best friends.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah,
I love
yeah.
that, Dallas. And I want to get into this because I think for the rest of the podcast, I want to be able to understand the recovery process and what you've come up with. And I've gone through your website. I want to first start off with, okay, so here you are. You're with your kids, you just get out of jail, you have nothing. Do you have an awakening? How does the recovery start for you? What is the
Yeah,
very beginning?
yeah. So I had to go through drug treatment court that we have here in North Carolina, where I was drug tested like 5 times a week. I had to see a judge every other week. I had to go to rehab. I had probation officer. So I jumped through every hoop I could for a year and a half.
Mhm.
I had to stay meth free or go to prison. So the decision was pretty easy for me.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
But in that year and a half, I was able to get us a house for rent, a car. I had a car now. I had a job at a restaurant, an upscale restaurant, and 3 of us were living together full time. So by the end of that year and a half ended, I was out of drug treatment court. Here I am on my own now, right? So there's a day when I walked into the kitchen to a sink of dirty dishes, and I look around and I'm like, this is the life I had before. This is what I was running from. Mundane, monotonous. I'm going to wash the dishes yet again. I can't do this. And so my first instinct was grab my phone and contact a dealer. So I started to shake and I ran outside and I ran into the woods. And I ran into the woods and I have my phone I always get emotional when I tell the story, but I grab my phone, I pick it up, and instead of texting the dealer, I started deleting dealers, and I started who I could possibly get crystal meth from. And this relief came up, and then I literally audibly heard a voice. And the voice said, "We've been waiting for you."
That's so good.
And then I was just standing there. It was this picturesque thing, like the sun shining on me, and I'm just standing there, just having this moment. And then they said, "Be like this tree." And I looked over, and there was this dead, decaying tree on the ground. And I didn't exactly know what it meant at the time, but what it meant was you have to completely die and become something new.
Who do you think
You
that
have
they were?
that they were who I know now as just some of my guides, my spirit guides, family members, some other. I've gotten to know them since. So
Perfect.
in that moment, I was like, after all these years of church, after all these years of everything, this is the first time where I was like, there is something else.
Right.
There is something else beyond me. And so I ran inside. The only spiritual word I knew was chakra. So I just start going to YouTube, and I just start just researching. I could not get enough of the knowledge. I started doing these guided meditations, and I started all this. I just dove in deep into, this is something, somebody spoke to me. I'm going to find out who they are, and this is the beginning. That led to an ayahuasca ceremony, and the ayahuasca ceremony bolstered my recovery big time. I found my recovery team there at the ayahuasca ceremony, and they weren't in recovery, and they weren't gay. They were just hippie, straight people, and they didn't want to talk about me being an addict. They wanted to talk about what's next for me.
That's so good. Yes.
Because I went into NA meetings, and it was all about the past, and it was all about saying I'm an addict, and it was all about
Right. Yes.
I'm defective, and all that stuff. And that did not resonate with me at all. But this did. This was moving forward in connection. I was connected to the earth. I was connected to something. And so that's what really started my actual recovery.
Do you feel like you had a profound spiritual experience in that moment? Was that's what it was? Yeah.
One of many. Yeah.
Yeah, one of many. Yeah, but I know the cornerstone of your philosophy is the guilt-free recovery. And I know that's the thing. People are drowning. Addicts are drowning in shame. And I couldn't imagine if you're
Yes.
a gay man trying to hide
Right.
this, because you don't want any of this out. If there was a video of you wearing a Nazi outfit, like, you're done, like, forever. You know what I mean? But it's this whole thing of, I'm drowning in shame. I have this addiction.
Yep.
What is the first part with, because I know that's the cornerstone of your philosophy. What's this guilt-free recovery?
Yeah. Yeah. So you're right. You're already carrying a bunch of shame. Like drug treatment and rehab and therapy and all that. No one understood me. I was sitting in a room with straight heroin and addicts and alcoholics, and I mentioned the word water sports, which is pissing. And they had a whole special meeting to discuss my mental state because I mentioned that. And I thought, that's the tip of the iceberg of what I have been through with crystal meth.
Right.
And so there's such a gap there. But so you have this guilt of being gay, guilt of being an addict, guilt of being a meth addict. And then most of us who have done meth are also HIV positive, because you don't even say the word condom in the meth crowd. There's no condoms. And so you have all of that. And then you walk into a 12-step room where you're expected to stop right now.
Right.
And this is a drug that's so connected to your libido that anytime you get horny, you're triggered. So how often is a man horny every day?
Oh,
Sex,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, exactly.
And it's not something I have found that you can just stop cold turkey. I did because it was either that or prison. And so when you're expected to do that, and then when you don't, you have to walk back in this walk of shame in front of this group and get another key tag or another coin or whatever it is. That whole ceremony is just humiliating. And so most gay men just don't go back. And then on top of that, when you're in an LGBTQ meeting, it's even more catty and more judgy.
Right.
And it's, oh, he didn't come to a meeting. He must be blah, blah, blah. And then you're told what you can and what you can't do, and according to some book. And the thing is that most of us gay men also have religious trauma.
Yes. You're
And
right.
and this 12-step system is so closely correlated
Mhm.
with traditional Christianity. There's only one book. There's only one way to do it. You are powerless. You have to do you have to put everything into someone else, and you're defective and all this stuff. And so it's so closely correlated that it's just a turnoff for most gay men. And so what I have found is, first of all, there's no day counting in my program. Like, we just don't count days unless you really want to. We don't count days. We don't have a hierarchy. There's no old timer period. And I don't even have my guys say I'm never using again. Right? Because when you say I'm not using again, what you're saying is I'm a bad person if I use again.
Oh,
Meth is a bad thing. And so in saying that over and over, I'm not using again, you're saying to the universe, basically, I want to use again because I'm a bad person. If you're just honest and say,
mhm.
I want to use again, can I just say that? Want to stand up and say, I want to use again. That's honesty. It's vulnerability. And in saying that, you give yourself the power, and it's counterintuitive in that you don't use because you're actually being honest for once in your life.
And that's what I love about your program is your view on relapse, that it's not a
Yes.
stumbling block, it's a stepping stone. This is
Yeah.
a huge, pardon my French for saying this in the corporate world, but it's a paradigm shift,
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
many, because whenever you have that slip up, and we all do, I can remember I was raised in Southern Baptist church, so masturbation was bad. And I can remember at 13 years old,
Yeah.
I'm going to hell. You use Men's Health or whatever. I use JC Penney's catalog because they had the better lingerie or whatever. And so here you are at 13-year-old, you're a 13-year-old boy, and this is happening 3, 4, 5 times a day. Those are rookie numbers. You're going to relapse. That's a thing. And we talk about this all the
Yep.
time on the podcast is I think the whole view, the religious view of relapse is what causes so many people to
Yep.
be like, fuck it, I'm not worthy enough. I'm
Yep.
not good enough. I relapse, I'm out.
Yep. So there's two pillars to my program, and this is the core beliefs that I have: is everything's happening for you, not to you, and everything you desire is already there. It happened. If I desire to be meth free, that path automatically opens up. It's my job then to just be certain that everything that happens is along that path. It's for me to get there. Sometimes you have to use several more times to get there. It's part of the path. You're not ready to be meth free. You have to go back into the relapse to clear some things out, to learn more, to be aware, right?
Right.
And if we see it, if we just trust that the path, this is me on my path I want to be, and not label it as bad or label it as a setback and start your stupid days over,
Mhm.
because then it's just inhibiting the whole process. It just really does.
No, I love that. And you have a decomposition phase with
Mhm.
this is going to help everybody. So I don't care what you are, the craving hijacking method. And we all experience intense cravings. I imagine with crystal meth and in the gay community, how do you hijack the craving?
Yeah. So for one thing, we say if a craving comes, you say thank you.
That's so good. Yeah. Total acceptance. Yep.
Yeah, you say thank you. This is my opportunity to learn. And so when you say thank you, it puts you on the other side. You're not becoming the craving. You don't let you become the compassionate observer of it, because you aren't the craving. I'm experiencing a craving. And that's what you say. And that separates you from it. And now you can observe it.
Mm.
And there's something about observing it. And then I have my clients, I say, okay, what color is it? Red. What does red mean? It means fire ants. What does fire ants mean? It means itchy. What does itchy mean? We go through that. And by the time we're done, the craving is dissipated. And we've learned more about it. And so it's an opportunity. It's really a teaching opportunity. Any trigger, any craving, any trigger is an opportunity, and it's a gift for you. And you just say, thank you for the gift. And so the hijacking is more of not being hijacked. It's hijacking it it's like taking your thoughts captive, as the Bible says.
Yeah. Yeah. And how does, whether you're gay or straight, it doesn't matter. How do you, like with the hijacking, how do you handle porn with this? What do you talk to when you talk to men about this
Yeah.
and porn addiction?
So The sexual reintegration process for crystal meth most of the time will involve you need a porn detox. So I teach mindful masturbation. So you have to do masturbation like I used to, all up here, right? You start to touch your body, feel what feels good again. You use your mind to create sober scenarios, and you start training. Because the other thing about crystal meth is you watch hours, days of porn. Like porn was on as a background music for.
You said when you walked into that depilated
Yeah.
house that they
That's
porn everywhere. Yeah.
That's custom. That's custom, right? You get so like when I first stopped, I could not get an erection without watching porn ever. I couldn't get an erection. It hijacks your arousal template, and it confuses you on what you like and what you don't like. But with porn, back to your question, a lot of times it's a detox from it. And then we slowly get back into, if you want to, watching it. More vanilla stuff, because there's whole Twitter pages of what's called P&P porn, party and play porn, but it's meth porn. It shows the needle shooting up, because that's the big thing too. It's called slamming, which is toward the end, which is what I was doing 3 times a day with it. And so porn is tricky. It's really tricky when you're trying to. The 12 steps says that they suggest not having sex or not dating or whatever for a year. But I play it by ear with each guy in terms of what they're possibly ready for, because even watching porn can be a trigger to want to go use.
Yeah, 100%. That's what I've noticed with addiction too, because it was like, I'm never good enough. I'm introverted. I don't know who I am. But then when I do drugs and then I go to a party, then I'm a different person. And so a lot of it was at the end, it's 2, 3 o'clock in the morning and you're hooking up. So there was this trigger, and this is why I wanted to get with you. A lot of people don't realize the masturbation trigger or the porn trigger can actually lead to using.
Yeah. So what normally happens with my clients, I have them, it's a requirement for them to block Grindr and Stiffies from their phone. Their phone becomes a 12-year-old phone, basically, because that's just mandatory. But the other thing is social media, because what will happen is you see a shirtless guy on Instagram, and then you start feeling either horny or not enough, because why don't I look like him? And so it's a domino, right? And then you masturbate. The masturbation activates all the sexual energy, and then I want to do more, the real thing.
Right.
Yeah, so it's a whole domino effect most of the time, yeah.
You just said something interesting. So because I would imagine women probably feel this way too. I look at a guy that's an athlete or like an influencer on Instagram and he has abs, and I feel like I don't look like that. Because I noticed we live near a college, and my girlfriend and I, we've seen like gay pride parades, and it's like, why is every gay guy like have abs? I'm jealous.
Yeah.
What is up with that? Is there a thing with that? Is there
Pressure.
guilt? Is pressure? Is that what it is?
It's a lot of pressure to look a certain way. And Instagram is horrible for you. You see a group of guys on a boat. They're out on the summer on a boat on the lake, and every one of them has abs and a perfect body. And all of a sudden, you're just at home watching Netflix. Not that. I don't look like that. I don't have friends. So I'm going to go use meth because that's where I'm going to feel like I belong. And it doesn't matter if I have abs or not.
This has to be so hard because it's not just an addiction with crystal meth. There's a sexual thing there too. And they're together. I don't think you can pull them apart, can you?
And it's not the guys here's the thing too, is you have to dig deeper in. Yes, it's sexual. However, there's always something below that. For validation, the need for belonging, the need for attention, the emotional regulation. You're hiding from some emotion. There's always something too that's driving that. The sex is just the sex is how you get into it, and the sex is intertwined with it, but you're really addicted to the feeling that is the numbing, just like any other addiction. But you're addicted as a gay man to the finally feeling like you can be yourself, because you can't even be yourself in your own community. Just like with the abs, you feel like you have to be somebody else.
Because you said there was a lot of judgment in cliques and stuff like that. So I could imagine, and then there's this kind of one-upness. Because it's dudes, there's testosterone, and it's...
It is. That's right. Yeah. So one other thing that's happening, a phenomenon, is older men. I call it their shelf life has expired in the gay community. They're invisible now.
So older men?
Older men. Yeah. They feel lonely, they feel ugly, they're not working anymore, maybe they're retired or whatever, and they feel invisible. They can't go to the clubs, they don't get looked at. This was what my position was too, was that before crystal meth or Tina, there's a lot of these younger guys on Grindr who wouldn't answer me. But then when I said, "Hey, I have Tina," all of a sudden they love me,
So
you know,
you get
and
like
they
a
would,
hot younger guy.
and that's what's happening. Older guys are getting into it really late. Their ticket for attention, for sexual vitality, for approval, and getting these guys that they never would get before because they have it, and then it's run off the rails. There's treatment centers full of retired men now, and the thing is that they could take the time off too. Like
Right.
it takes several weeks to recover from one of these binges. But these young guys are either in college or they're working at a restaurant. The time off, their life falls apart too.
Yeah, that's so true. I didn't even think about that. But then at the same time, if you're older, your body can only handle that for so much. So your internal organs
right.
and stuff, like you're gonna die of a heart
Right.
attack or something.
That's
And
right.
then who knows what you're getting? Like you're buying these drugs. Like you said, you had dealers on your phone. Like where are they making this? I've watched Breaking Bad.
So, well, now though they are making it in the labs you saw in Breaking Bad because the Biden administration cut down on the Sudafed production, which shut down a lot of the home labs.
Oh, okay.
So it's the country, these labs are shutting down and there's demand. So the Mexican cartel picked up the demand. Super labs. So what we have now is called super meth, and it's
Wow.
99.9% pure and a third of the price.
That's
And so
crazy. And it's
most of
all
what
Mexican cartel.
that's right. And so most of what the feds are confiscating is the super meth. So it's proof that it's what's out there.
Mhm.
And it's so powerful that's causing psychosis a lot sooner. And it's causing a lot of permanent in these
So
guys too.
yeah, Dr. Bragg, I want to get into this because I think it's really good as far as like understanding. Let's say there's a gay man and he's listening to this podcast. We have thousands that listen. Obviously, that's happening. And maybe they're secretly, what's the first steps that they can begin to take? I know they can go to your website and we'll have those in the links and
Sure.
stuff. But for the next 5-10 minutes with our time,
Sure.
what does
Yeah.
it look like, Dallas, for those first steps in
Yeah.
recovering and getting help?
Yeah. So a lot of these guys don't want to hear what I have to say when they ask me that. But because of the nature and the nuance of the accessibility of this drug,
Mhm.
you have to infantilize yourself. For the most part, I call it going into the witness protection program. New phone number,
Mm.
deactivate social media, block Grindr and Sniffies. You have to, in the beginning, surround yourself. Because listen, if you go to rehab, what are they going to do? They're going to take your phone away. So if you don't want to go to rehab, you're going to have to set it up in the same way. You have to block access to it to give yourself some space without it. That's the very first basic step if you want to stop using, is you have to change your phone number because you have dealers and everybody else in your phone already. They're going to get access to it. If it's 1 a.m. on a Friday night, you can just pick your phone up, get on Grindr, and you be, like I said, in 30 minutes or less. I have a client in LA who can get it in 10 minutes.
That's
Delivered
Yeah.
to his home in 10 minutes.
Yeah, so you have to create this whole new identity, huh?
You do, because you're creating a new identity anyway. Who you are. The first step in my program is the prophetic vision, is what it's called. Because who am I next? Who am I after meth? Because how do you move forward if you don't know where you're? And a lot of these guys can't imagine life without it. But you have to create this whole personality of, this is how I'm going to show up when meth isn't in my life. And so you figuratively and literally have to create this new identity. And unfortunately, that's what it takes. And a lot of guys don't want to do that, but it has to. The work happens later, right? There's a lot of work to do, but the first thing you got to do is just, you got to create this world. Systemizing your life is what I call it. You systemize it, because willpower is bullshit. Self-control is bullshit.
You're right.
You can't rely on that. Systemize it so that there's no choice but not use. Because if you have a choice between using and not using, you're going to choose using.
Yeah, and like especially on your website, and I want people to go to it. Like I said, we'll have it in the links, but isn't it drdallasbragg.com?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yes.
want people to understand that there is a specific program just for you. It's a 4-phase recovery. And like I said, I love the word alchemy program. Can we just real quick, can you go over, if you don't mind, I want you to give a commercial for your 4-phase recovery alchemy program and then
Mhm.
make sure that people understand how they can get in touch with you.
Sure. Yeah. So I'll just make it really quick. The alchemic process has always been something that I'm interested in. Led to gold, but also spiritually, is you're creating your life as it is now,
Mhm.
this lead, and we're putting it through heat. You're putting your life through heat,
Transmutation.
right, and transmuting it into the life that has always been in there. Crystal meth addiction and experience is a gift for you. It's a
Yes.
gift for you to get to where you're always meant to be.
Mhm.
And so the first thing you need to do is understand that this happened for you.
Yes.
So that first stage of decomposition is we're dying. Just like the message I had with the tree. Everything about you has to die. This identity, in all your patterns, they have to die. And then we start seeing the flecks of gold in the next stage, which is we're going through your inner critic, parts work, inner child work. And again, I'm not a therapist. My job is to get you ready to be therapized. I am the intermediate between active use and therapy.
The no shame guy. I love
Right.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. And so we just do this in a way where you have a space of non-judgment, and the guys meet together each week, and they have a WhatsApp chat. They support one another. And sometimes we have a planned use. The thing is that some guys, we have a planned use and they support each other in that too. It's very non-traditional. It's very controversial, but it's real. There are some men who have used 30 years and they come to the program and I say, it's okay if you use. And you don't have to start over. They never use again. And so the purification stage happens where you're understanding how you got here. What are the limiting beliefs? And it's the ego, right? It's the death of the ego in this process. What beliefs are wrapped up in how you see the world, and what are you avoiding? Right. And then it leads into transformation. Then the transformation is, this is my new life now. This is how I show up. And this is who I am, which leads into the transmuted life in terms of my life is now transmuted into something new, something that's golden. It's like a phoenix from the ashes. And I left a lot out, but that's the overall process. It's really digging deep into, listen, your goal is not to quit meth. Your goal is to become the best and highest version of yourself. And when you become the best and highest version of yourself, meth immediately becomes a byproduct automatically. It's not even something you have to try anymore, because that's not a part of your new identity.
That's so true. And that's when you begin to understand your higher self and what that is and begin to look at it. And we always share this all the time on the podcast. It's like the desires go away. Those basic, like primal desires go away because there's this spiritual side of you that begins to see the value of who you are. This sounds cheesy, but we're taught this in Sunday school and all that stuff. But it's like we are a snowflake, right? We're all individual. There are certain gifts and abilities that we have. And so what do you say to, and I want to end in this. I could talk to you for hours. This is so interesting. And I appreciate your openness. Like amazing. Dr. Bragg, what do you think as far as like, why is it so hard for gay men to seek? Is it the same as a straight person, like to seek recovery, or is it harder?
I can't speak for straight people exactly, but I would think that there's a thing called minority stress. We have certain stressors that carry more weight.
Right.
I think what makes it harder for straight men who are using meth is coming out. You're in the closet again inside your own community, because to say you use Tina is a blemish. And you can look on my Instagram page, and when I try to defend and try to end the stigma, you see all these gays posting. The stigma belongs there. We can't normalize this is dirty and this is blah, 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 blah. Dirty meth heads and tweakers and all this kind of stuff. There's so much stigma and negative pressures on you as a gay man inside your own community, and there's hardly anyone in the community talking about it. That they're afraid to. It looks bad, right? I think that puts a lot of more barriers on recovery. Also, the fact that a lot of these treatment centers don't understand it, and they try to do this
100%.
one size fits all, step only
From
approach to
1930s.
something. Yeah, that can. This is not it. It's just so different, and you have to understand the nature of the fact that this is not. A lot of times, it's not a chemical dependence. It's the fact that this is the only way I can feel me. This is the way I can forget that I rejected a part of myself. All of my, it's a whole. It's like instant wholeness, but it's fate.
Yeah, and in those programs, it's about abstinence, and we all know how that goes. How many Catholic priests are on Grindr?
Right. Oh yeah. Exactly.
Abstinence, when it's not geared for that.
Yeah.
Our bodies aren't. Evolution psychiatry is
Yeah.
not that.
Yeah.
So that's why I think your program is so important. What are some of the resources, some of the things they can do? We'll close out in this.
Yeah.
What are some of the things that they
So-
go to drdallasbragg.com?
Yeah. So if you go to drdallasbragg.com, you could go to my blog, which is my newsletter. You can subscribe to my newsletter. I put one out every Monday. It's not just a newsletter. It's a topic with reflective questions, journal prompts, actionable exercises. I try to create as many free resources as I can. I have a free course. It's a 30-day course. It's called Reframing Relapse.
Wow.
A lot of so you get a video module every day, journal prompts, guided meditations. When you get through, you're going to look at relapse much differently. And I think that's the key. That is the key, is if you can change the way you see it. Like here, relapse is a neutral experience. We decide the meaning we put on it. If you can stop putting the negative label on it. So that's free. I have free master classes about every month. I have one coming up this Saturday. It's 7 essential steps for living meth free. It's 7 steps. Part of it is what I wish I had done. Part of it was what I did do. It comes with an ebook. The ebook has a matrix of days 1 through 90, everything you should be doing to stay meth free. So you could do that. That's there.
Ton of free resources. That's crazy.
Yeah. Of course, my content on all my social media is off. And then the podcast. I have the podcast called the Aftermath Podcast. It comes out every Thursday. It also comes with a study guide. Every podcast has a study guide that you could go deeper into the subject with journal prompts, with reflective questions too.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's so awesome. And so everyone, drdallasbragg.com. Dallas, I appreciate you being so open and honest and bringing us. We need to get rid of the shame, get rid of the guilt, we're humans. Like, we're all just humans having a spiritual experience on
That's right.
planet that's just, whether we're third density or whatever it is. But and what I always tell people is this meat suit that you're put in, that you're an addict, that's the reason that you're in this meat suit, is to deal with this addiction. Maybe 5 meat suits ago, you couldn't handle this. So your addiction, and you said this, which is so awesome. Your addiction is a gift.
Yep. Yes, it is. I get a lot of grief. I get a lot of grief for saying that, but it really is. I mean, it was for me.
Yes,
for sure.
If it carries you spiritually in your evolution and you can go on to that next life and you've whipped addiction, holy shit, you're in that next level. So I appreciate you. Everybody go to drdallasbragg.com and make sure you download those free resources and be a part of the community.
Yeah. Thank you.